Hey everyone, today we're diving into an explainer for the 10x Hound. I'm going to walk you through exactly what this tool is and how it works, speaking to you directly, operator to operator. If you manage accounts receivable or really handle any sort of billing for your business, you already know the everyday realities of chasing down payments. It can be a massive headache. But this explainer is going to show you a very structured, tightly controlled way to manage that entire process.
Here's a quick look at our agenda today. We are going to cover what the Hound is, the specific problems it solves, its easy automated in-house architecture, a complete end-to-end walkthrough, the searchable audit trail, and finally, how you can get started.
All right, let's jump right into segment 1, what the Hound is.
To put it in plain language, without any marketing hype, the 10x Hound is basically a control panel for collecting overdue payments. It's a Google web app tied directly to a Google Sheet that lives entirely in your own Google Drive. The workflow is simple. You load up the list of who owes you money. The Hound automatically applies standard professional messaging based on exactly how many days overdue they are, and then you review and dispatch them. The best part? Every single email goes out directly from your own Gmail account. There's literally zero third-party server hosting involved here.
Let's move on to segment 2, the problems it solves. If you're doing AR manually right now, you are inevitably dealing with 3 core problems. Number 1 is tracking overdue accounts by hand. Your list probably lives in a spreadsheet somewhere, while the follow-up context just lives in your head. So every single week, you're forced to rebuild this picture of who owes what and just how late they are. Number 2, writing every chase email yourself. Look, every email takes judgment. How firm are you supposed to be at 15 days past due versus 60 days? Figuring that out takes time you simply do not have. And number 3 is guessing who you already emailed. Without a unified system, you either accidentally re-email clients, which is super awkward, or you maintain a separate offline tracker that is almost always out of date.
Which brings us to segment 3, easy, automated, in-house.
So how does it actually work? There are 3 main pillars to this tool. First, the Google Sheet. That is your data. Every single account, amount, and due date lives in a sheet that you own. Second is the web app. Think of this as the control panel where you import, stage, review, and send your emails all without needing to know a single complex spreadsheet formula. And third is your Gmail, which acts as the sender. To your clients, it just looks like a normal email coming directly from you, and the records are safely stored right in your own sent folder. This means your customer data literally never leaves your Google account. And because your entire AR team can log into this single web app, everyone is working from one shared picture. No more parallel trackers.
All right, now for the most important part of this explainer, segment 4, our end-to-end walkthrough.
Step 1. Before you even put data into the system, you pick a preset. You've got 8 options here, things like B2B accounts receivable, QuickBooks, NetSuite, rent and property management, membership and dues, medical and dental, freelancer, or general debtor. When you choose a preset, it configures your columns and automatically sets up starter messaging tailored exactly to your specific industry workflow. It essentially sets the table for everything else.
Step 2 is importing your list. You can search your Google Sheets directly, paste a link, or even just copy rows straight over from Excel. The Hound is smart enough to auto-match common headers, like email and amount. Also, if your export uses aging buckets, like 1 to 30 days, the Hound uses that to set the stage. And any unrecognized columns? Don't worry, they are safely kept right there as your own custom tracker columns.
Moving to step 3, update aging. With just one click, the tool recalculates the days overdue from the due date and suggests a specific dunning stage. That ranges from a gentle reminder all the way up to final. But keep in mind, the Hound is strictly making suggestions here. It will never override your manual choices if you've marked an account as payment plan or paid.
Now for step 4, which is the dunning writer. I want to be absolutely clear on this point. AI does not write these emails. Instead, the dunning writer drops standard, professional, and entirely editable template language into every line, totally based on its specific aging stage. So if you have a mixed list of accounts that are 7 days overdue and 70 days overdue, it handles them all appropriately in one single pass. You get 7 customizable templates so you can dial in the tone to sound exactly like your business, firm, professional, and without any unnecessary threats.
Step 5, you fill in the common details. I'm talking about things like your remit to address, accepted payment methods, maybe a payment portal link, and your standard sign-off block. You only have to enter these once in the Common Details panel, and the Hound applies them globally across all the selected accounts in your batch.
Step 6 is where human control is strictly enforced. You, the user, must actively select specific accounts and hit Mark Ready. Listen, nothing is ever sent automatically on a background schedule just because it happens to sit on your overdue list. Every single notice that leaves your outbox requires your deliberate selection.
Step 7. Preview and draft. Clicking this button creates actual real Gmail drafts. You can review every single message right there inside the web app, or if you prefer, open your actual Gmail drafts folder and read them there. This review step is absolutely mandatory to unlock the send button. In fact, if you go back and change any data on a line after drafting it, that draft is immediately invalidated and you have to review it again. The system is built to ensure it never sends wording you haven't laid eyes on.
And finally, Step 8. Send. One click on Send Ready dispatches every single draft you just reviewed. It sends the exact drafts you read, nothing is regenerated in the background. Oh, and here's a really cool feature. If you have a single account with multiple overdue invoices going to the same contact, the system intelligently combines them into one single email. That way, you definitely aren't spamming your client's inbox.
Okay, so the emails are sent. Let's look at segment 5, your searchable audit trail.
Right after you send your batch, you just hit refresh. When you do that, every single sent line moves right off your working list and directly into the sent box. This sent box is a read-only, protected archive tab located inside your sheet. It creates a completely searchable audit trail of exactly who was emailed, what they were sent, and when. And because your whole team is operating from the same app, it creates a single shared history, so anyone on your AR team can check the sent box before they chase an account, eliminating any guesswork.
Now, let's talk about guardrails. The system includes several strict built-in protections. First off, every email carries a tiny reference token, and the Hound actively checks your sent folder before sending to guarantee that the same notice is never sent twice. No double sending, ever. Plus, as we discussed, there is that mandatory review chain. An item absolutely must be marked ready, drafted, and reviewed before it can be sent. Finally, it clearly states Gmail's daily sending limits up front and will actually warn you on large batches, making sure it respects the limits of your workspace account.
And that brings us to our final segment. Segment 6, Getting Started and Close.
Getting this whole system up and running literally takes just a few minutes. You just make a copy of the sheet, open the web app from the menu, punch in the license key from your purchase, and import your list. That's really it. It's one screen and one paste. There are built-in guides and a help panel right there in the app header if you ever get stuck. And because it's so straightforward, most operators are able to run their very first reviewed batch the exact same day they set it up.
And that wraps up our explainer on the 10x Hound. The core promise here is incredibly simple, but powerful. Your list, your sheet, your Gmail, your control. The Hound takes care of the tedious manual tracking, the repetitive writing, and the logging, but you always make the actual decisions. So, I want to leave you with this question. How many hours of operational friction could your team reclaim this week if you finally let the Hound do the chasing?